So South Africa is still begging for their land to be returned. Black South Africans. Since the promise of Nelson Mandela that he would return 30% of the land owned by white settlers, South Africans still waiting in that promise to happen. And for now, only 10% of the land was returned. So I have a question to President Cyril Ramaphosa. What he was waiting for? What is he waiting for? To give back the land to the people of South Africa. But let's watch this video and then we talk about it.
Land and who owns it? It's a defining question in South Africa. It began with the conquest of the land more than 4 centuries ago, and ever since, land and race have been inextricably linked.
We need our land back. That's it. And we are going to grab it by force.
Now, an ANC government is promising it'll give land to landless blacks by taking it from white farmers.
The Constitution, as it stands, does not impede expropriation of land without compensation.
Ramaphosa is under pressure to take action. It's estimated only 10% of commercial farmland has been redistributed, compared to the 30% promised by Mandela back in 1994. And the budget for land reform is just 0.4% of the national total. But to understand the passions raised, you have to go back into history. The first settlers grew vegetables here below Cape Town's Table Mountain. Soon after, the first Dutch traders arrived in 1652. Much of this land, taken through conquest and displacement of black South Africans, is still owned by white Afrikaners today. To try and legitimise the seizure of land, the white minority used the law.
Apartheid. I'm afraid that has been misunderstood so often. It could just as easily, and perhaps much better, be described as a policy of good neighbourliness.
The 1913 Natives Land Act allocated only around 7% of arable land to non-whites. Blacks could only own land in what were called native reserves, overcrowded and impoverished. And they weren't allowed to purchase or hire land in white areas. Over the decades, blacks were gradually forced into ever smaller portions of land. 72% of the land would end up in the hands of just 9% of the population.
I'm suffering. I won't be the same like white people. I'm suffering because I'm black.
There's Mr. Mandela, a free man taking his first step.
With the release of Nelson Mandela in 1990, there was hope for freedom, jobs and land. But change provoked a violent backlash among some Afrikaners, who joined an extremist militia, vowing civil war to keep the land and swearing they'd never live under black rule. With policemen and demonstrators shot and Ventersdorp in a virtual state of siege, President de Klerk must now be wondering whether he made the right decision in coming here to the citadel of the white right wing. Civil war didn't happen. Compromise prevailed. A new order came into being.
Each time one of us touches the soil of this land, we feel a sense of personal renewal.
25 years on, there's a crisis over who owns that soil. With an election looming, the ANC is threatened by more radical groups like the Economic Freedom Fighters.
We must be prepared for everything. It's a war.
After years in which they allowed the land issue to drift, the ANC is promising to end the willing buyer, willing seller system and take land without compensation. All of this summoned up memories of the chaotic land invasions in Zimbabwe.
The violent nature of Zimbabwe's land reform program is undeniable.
Here in South Africa, the government faces a perilous balancing act. Because if they take too much land, it runs the risk of scaring away international investors needed to revive the economy. Too little, and you betray the promise of freedom. But Cyril Ramaphosa is a pragmatist. He's appointed a team of experts from across the racial divide to advise him on land reform. Compromise will be essential. His task is huge.
So black people will never be respected. Okay? Black people will never move forward if we keep being the nicest person, the nicest people in the world. These demons don't care about if we're nice, if we treat them good, and like every human being is supposed to treat each other. They don't care about that. They only care about themselves. They selfish, they evil, they demons. Okay? And this type of people, you don't deal with them in the nicer way possible you can deal with them. You deal with them the way they want you to deal with them. So South Africans are majority. Black South Africans are majority. Take your land. You don't have to worry about international investors because there's a lot of millionaire Africans that can invest in your land. There's a lot of black millionaires in South Africa that can invest in your land. Even the government, if you're smart, you can create a program where you invest on your land, you know what I'm saying, and do what you have to do. You can be scared of taking what belongs to you. Take it back. Because the land was stolen, and they commit genocide. They killed people, and they took the land. And now, until now, they still act like they deserve the land more than natives, South Africans. This is insane. This is what I said. African leaders are too weak, too cowards to move. Okay? Do you think if this is Chinese, this would be happening in China? Of course not. Because these people, they only understand force. So you have to deal with them with force. All right? President Cyril Ramaphosa need to start acting, as soon as possible. Okay? Nelson Mandela promised 30% of the land would be returned. They only returned so far 10%. Return everything. Everything, not just 30%. Return it 100%. You're going to see people are going to invest, you know what I'm saying? And you can create ideas. You can create, project to even redistribute those land to people and teach them and show them how to take advantage of those land. That's what you have to do. Okay? Those white settlers have no saying. They're not the owner of the land. Their ancestors stole the land. Now you're going to get it back. They should pay you reparation. Okay? Take the land without reparation. Okay? Without compensation. Take the land back and then force them to pay you reparation for all these years that they stole from you. Take your land back and do something else. Because Africa needs to stand up. We Africans need to stand up for ourselves. Okay? If we don't stand up for ourselves, they're going to keep looking at us like we're stupid, we're ignorant, we're weak. But in reality, we're not weak. We have good heart. We got to stop being nice to people that are not nice to us. You got to stop with that. Okay? You got to start doing what you're supposed to do in order to secure the future for you people. Okay? So we can see the war that's going on in Europe right now between Russia and Ukraine. Both sides, they're fighting for their future, for their people's future. So why can't Africans do the same? Fight for what belongs to you. You don't own nothing to nobody. You don't own nothing to these white racist people in South Africa. Okay? The ancestors stole your land. Now take it back and give it to the people. That's it. You are the majority. Take it back. Simple like that. Let's start acting like adults and stop acting like little kids. Because if African leaders keep acting this way, we will never be respected. We have to force them to respect us. And the way you do it is by showing them that whatever they can do to you, you can do double to them. So I know that Julius Malema, if he was the president right now, he would do it like this. I know for a fact. But President Ramaphosa need to start moving right now so he can secure the land for you South African people. Thank you for watching, you guys. Enjoy your day.